It's everything and more that I thought it would be. She is such a good eye for the ball, such a good hitter, good sense. Um, she likes to ask questions. She likes to give answers when we're here, looking at video. So um, she is really, she leads our team by far in walks. Her walk to strikeout ratio is almost triple. So she's just such a tough out, and she knows it. And I think pitchers know it too. So she walks up with a different kind of confidence. Like every time she comes up to the plate, the attitude I can see is, there's no way you're beating me. And when she has that mindset, you don't beat her. She is the most competitive athlete that I think I've ever seen.
When did you first start seeing that competitiveness in her? I mean, obviously, I imagine you had a sense of it when you were recruiting her.
Yeah, she was a little kid, a left-handed shortstop, just a itty bitty seventh grader, but little and skinny. And she had her voice, like her voice was very prevalent. You could hear her like a good leader. You knew she was going to be a leader. It was more of her being a slapper short game. So she really knew how to place the ball. She was on all the time, and she was always stealing and playing games with the catcher. So much so that parents are yelling at her, like, you're cheating, play the game the right way. I mean, she would delay steal. She would take off and stand right in the middle of the base path and wait for them to do something. And she'd always break and be safe the other way. Like she was just playing games. So as we kind of talk in our team, like one team's playing checkers, we're playing Jada was playing chess, and she could pick up a glove and a ball. She was always that athletic and so far ahead of the game.
So, when obviously she's been a fantastic offensive player for you, how did what was the process that got her into, pursuing that power, more power?
Well, I told you when she came here, she was just really thin, not very strong. Just thinking of her as more of a slapper, bunter, maybe hit a ball through the gap here and there, fast runner. But she got in the weight room and everything changed for her. And with that, along with understanding what JT is teaching and really wanting to learn it, I just remember some of the first meetings with her as a freshman. She'd ask a question, and it was just almost an obvious answer. And then she kind of got a little bit embarrassed because everybody was, kind of knew the answer. But then the more she kept asking questions, the more they were just really outstanding questions. Like her mind thinks differently, works differently. So I've just seen the growth of understanding hitting. And it's a science, and she kind of has that science mind for it. On top of that, it's just the strength in the weight room has really paid off tremendously.
Patty, when you see Jocelyn and what she's been able to do just so early in her career, we talked a couple weeks ago how you were wondering how she was going to adapt to the college game, and she's really playing well right now. What's the growth pattern? I mean, you had that so much success early. What do you want? How do you want that to extend through the rest of the season? Is it the mentality? Is it to keep swinging like you are? What's the growth for someone that's had success early?
Oh, I like what she's been doing, and I don't, it's funny because we talk about matchups, and there's many times where Josie might not be the right matchup, but we keep putting her in, and she keeps beating the matchup. She wins that matchup even when it's not in her favor by going opposite field, so forth. There are a few pitches that can really handcuff her, but she's been working really hard on finding ways out of that. So I just hope that she stays consistent. The last thing we would want for her to do is find herself not being successful and get that kind of freshman slump and lose her confidence. But right now she's so level-headed. She's not too high, too low. I think that is a sign of somewhat maturity. She's just really, really even keel. And that's a sign of some great hitters. Our best hitters have always been like that. Not too high, not too low.
You're in her Patty. Any concerns about BYU just because of her family's linkage to BYU?
Yes, for sure. Is it the travel ball team that she plays with? They're very familiar with us. So Josie would come to a lot of our camps and got very familiar with us. And I think no disrespect to BYU, because they're a very good program, but I think a lot of her friends were here from her travel ball team. And I just think she set her sights really high. And it was a good connection for us. She doesn't say a lot. She's very quiet. She doesn't say much. She probably does away from us, but around and on the field, she's just real kind of quiet and just does her job.
Alyssa Brito played with her.
Mhm.
All right. Who else played with her?
Nicole, May, Kenzie Hansen. Gosh. I got to think around there. JT, who else was on? It's more than that, isn't there? TRA. I think she's kind of that's where that separation, like they know each other, they practiced against each other, but I don't think they ever played on the same team together.
Patty, how happy are you with the answers you're finding with the lineup? Remember, you said you thought this first month stuff, figuring out who's going to be where. Are you getting those type of answers?
Yeah, it's interesting. And we talk a lot about matchups, and the numbers show one thing, but sometimes my feel something else. And I've been frustrated at times, like with the Dodgers, because they'll always use metrics. And I'm like, how can you do that right here? So I give and I take. Like, I know and I understand what's right, but there are times when I'll override that. So I'm finding what I think. Some are just regular every day, whether you're a good matchup or not, you need to be in this lineup. And then we have found others that fit better in certain situations. So we'll create maybe 2 or 3 lineups, and we will wait to see what pitcher is going to be thrown. And that is the lineup that we'll use. So some of it is metrics, some of it is feel. It's a good combination of both.
How do you work through that and finding the right balance between the metrics and analytics side of things and just that feel, and how has it adjusted for you, over the last several years?
It certainly has changed. It is definitely so much bigger of a part of what we do now. And it makes sense. I mean, it does. The matchups and knowing what swing plane doesn't work with what pitch is pretty obvious. But there are kids like Josie Erickson that can prove you wrong. And so those are the things you got to feel. Like, man, she has become a staple in this lineup, and I would feel a void if she wasn't in the lineup, even if it doesn't favor her. If it is clearly doesn't favor her, we know who would be the first person to fall in. So we are way ahead of that game, like who would fit here. But besides that, they've got to play good defense, and that is really, really important. So sometimes I will favor defense over the offensive side in a few spaces. So it kind of depends on who we're playing.
Patty, you had an opportunity, because you know it's going to come at some point. Grace Lyons is not going to play shortstop for you. You had a chance to rest her, so you had a chance to see Tiara and Hodge, and you had a chance to see some things in there. What did you think?
I thought Avery played really, really well. She made some really good plays, rangy, good arm. I thought she did a good job, and she put the ball in play. She's not going to be the home run hitter. She's going to be, I think I heard somebody, maybe it was Plank, someone related her to Brianna Terrain. And she can run like that if we can get the ball kind of bounced in the dirt a bit. So she's going to be that short game speed attack. But she's gotten a lot of play, and she's done a good job with her. And I thought Quincy Q played really well at second, turned some of her own double plays, and I thought they handled it well.
You played Tiara there. You have so many shortstops. You talked about that last week, but that's going to be interesting because you always recruit them, so who knows what the future's gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, Brito played shortstop. Alina played short. I could go around the entire lineup and throughout the entire field, and most all of those guys have played shortstop. But they're just natural leaders, natural athletes, and they can play about any position as they're showing.
Grace could go this weekend.
It's going to be like a last-minute decision on this. I need her to feel better. She's just not feeling herself, so we'll wait and see. She needs some more rest.
Patty, can I ask one more question, or you guys got some more? Samantha Ricketts this weekend, I mean, you're running into your players all the time. You played your son, you know, Dave Parker out there, and, you know, how cool is that still? Is there still a coolness to that?
100%. I was talking about Sam today, and just when she came to OU on a visit, she would not say a word. I mean, there were one-word answers, and she would be the girl that would look all around you but never at you. I mean, I'm looking right at her, and she's looking around me, and just it was always felt like it was like that, you know. And to see her now running her own program, being a leader, being a woman who is trying to empower her players, is just a whole nother level of wow. So I truly watched this girl come in as a girl and turn into a woman who has turned into a leader, who is turning into an elite style coach. So yeah, it's thrilling for me. It's exciting. I'm really excited to be there. I've never been to, she calls it Stark Vegas. And I don't know, I'm waiting to see what kind of big lights out there I'm gonna see. Is they have gambling? Why are they calling it that? I don't know. But she says, welcome to Stark Vegas, so I don't know what that means.
You know, remember during the pandemic, she was just starting that program, and she was really thrilled about playing you at that time. Now she's looking forward to it, so it's a difference in a couple of years, isn't it?
She's not afraid of the Sooners. She was before, but not anymore. So that's just, it takes time to build that. So.
Patty, I asked a question on social media. I know how much you enjoy social media, but I asked them, OU fans, who's the ace of this team, just to get some feedback. And we had a ton of responses, and I think the neatest response was someone morphed off 4 pictures' names together. How nice of a problem is it for you to have this, just what they're doing early in the season and going to a weekend kind of game plan of what you're going to do?
Yeah, it's almost like we need to play more games over the weekend to give them all an opportunity to start, or, you know, everybody gets like one start, maybe Katie comes in and finishes, but they want more. They're hungry, and that's the beauty of this. They're hungry, they're healthy, and they're fresh. So I haven't had to rely on one person only. Storako has been having some great outings. Jordy is turning a good corner right now. I'm really excited about what's going to happen with her this weekend. Nicole May is just a steady, again, not too high, not too low, gets her job done, walks off the field, does it effectively, efficiently. People don't talk about her much, but she is not giving up a earned run yet. So, I mean, she's doing some good things. And just out here today and just watching Kirsten Deal spin the ball so well, and I'm really, really comfortable with where we are with our pitching staff. I have not felt so good in a while, because we've had injuries before or things like that happen. I feel really good where we're at.
Probably won't get a chance to talk to you before Tuesday's game. Just the importance of that kind of match out there in the season, to have a team like First State to come in here and get a chance to work through some of those things.
Yeah, it's great. It's been a long time since I've had that. It feels like we're always the one that has to go find it. But luckily, they're playing Oklahoma State, and they reached out and say, it's our spring break, we play you on Tuesday. I'm like, of course. So it's a good treat, great treat for our fans to see that. It's kind of cool. It's a nighttime game, midweek, so it is It's going to be fun. I really love their coaching staff. I think they've done such a good job. Lonnie is a former OU player and former assistant coach, or maybe a grad assistant here. So I'm excited to have her back. But she puts together a really good, hard-working team. They remind me of I think they remind me of our own team, where they're just well-rounded on all sides. And to get a top 5 matchup at home is something I haven't had in a long time. So I'm pumped. I'm so happy that worked out.
You know, a question I've been asking the players, a fun question. I want to ask you the same question I'm asking them. Is what was the number you wore in college? And was there a special significance to the number that you wore?
I wore number 7 when I was young, and then I moved it to 3. But 7 is the number. I don't know why. I just like the way it looks, and you always thought of lucky number 7, but I don't know. I was at 7. It was 7. Good athletes wore 7, so I thought, okay, maybe it'll work for me.
Coach, it can be hard for some transfers to come into the new program. How do you feel like Straka's been so far this season? Could you just do a little bit or try to find him?
Yeah, she had a tough go of it if you were watching her in the fall, because she had to face our hitters, and there were times when she was just like, I can't do this. I cannot get these guys out. And it was good for her to see how she could handle those tough times. And the transition going into, I think the UCLA game was really an absolute game changer for her. She was throwing well up to that point, but putting her in that, like in the limelight in front of all those fans against the number 1 team. And if we win, are we going to be number 1? Or we lose, we're going to be number 4. It didn't really matter. Those things we never even talked about. But she handled it with grace and passion and style and fired up the team. And once she felt that, I feel everything has changed, where she is just super confident, trusting her pitches. I haven't seen any of this roller coaster motion whatsoever.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Patty.
guys.
Patty.